Hey, what's up everybody, Tech Chucker here, and today I've got a review of the Hasbro Marvel Legends Thor Ragnarok movie version of Hela. Yes, this figure is also one of the very difficult ones to grab out of this wave. I would say don't wait on this figure if you really want to get all of them in the wave. To build that Hulk Build-A-Figure. Now, this figure has some issues, but it's also very, very cool. So let's go ahead and crack this thing open and take a closer look. Alright, so taking a look at the articulation on Hela, the head is on a ball peg with a hinge, and there really aren't any major issues with this. She can look all the way up, which is pretty cool. She can get her chin all the way down into her chest, which is also awesome. And then she has full rotation of that head, and then there's also a pretty decent amount of tilt within her head, so you can get some of those more emotive looks. In her shoulder, she has a ball hinge, which is able to get her arm just above her shoulder, which is pretty cool. She's got full rotation of that arm if you move the head and the antlers. We'll get that out of the way. And then there is no upper bicep swivel. There is a swivel at the elbow and a single hinge in the elbow. There is in the wrist a peg and hinge. No real issues with that. Moving down into the torso. This is one of the issues that she's got. She really can't crunch forward. I mean, it's not very good. And even going back is pretty limited. She is able to swivel at that joint, and she's able to kind of side crunch a little bit, not a lot. There is no waist swivel, though. Moving into the hips, she's got T-jointed ball joints in the hips, and she's able to do about that much for the splits. Not too bad. She's able to kick forward almost 90 degrees. It's pretty darn close to 90 degrees. Not too bad. And then she's not really able to kick back at all. Nothing. She's got an upper thigh cut that works good. Double jointed knees. Mine are, at least this left one is kind of warped, but she's able to get that joint or that knee bent all the way. No shin cut, but there is a hinge in the ankle. Can get her foot back that far, which is great. She can't really get her foot forward very much. You know, it's not bad. No, it's bad. She has an ankle rocker that works okay. Nothing too spectacular with the articulation. I mean, she's got all the points of articulation we would expect. And, you know, it's not too bad. She is kind of difficult to stand, which I've found is kind of common with most all of the female characters. But, you know, it is what it is. So, looking at that face, the paint is a little bit messy. You know, I can't really tell if that green is supposed to look kind of, I don't know, it looks like it needed to be a little bit thicker, but, you know, it is what it is. The eyes aren't too bad. I really do like these antlers. This is, I believe, the SDCC that Hela that was the exclusive from last year. The thing that I thought was interesting is that these antler things actually can come off. They just peg in to the back of her head. And so you can put more or less of the antler things on her head. You just happen to have these big peg holes in the back of her head then, which, you know, is okay. I think it's very interesting that we have that option, I guess. Her neck is too long. I'm just going to say that. It's way too long. They needed to bring that down. The shoulder piece just looks a little funky, and especially with the neck piece, I don't know. It just, some of that is a little bit off-putting, and it does kind of cause some issues with the articulation. But the rest of the sculpt within the arm is very nice. I like these forearm pieces. They're actually kind of a floating, softer plastic, which is kind of cool. It gives it some real nice depth and character to the figure, which is cool. I really like these hands. They are cast in a fairly soft plastic. So, you know, they're very nice. I like the torso. They've got a lot of sculpt work, some pretty clean paint work. You know, it's not too bad. Moving down into the legs, these legs are nice until you get to the knee on this one, and I'm going to have to warm this up and hope that it takes a better shape, because right now she's kind of sitting kind of funky. But the sculpt work is very nice. I like the shoes. The shoes are actually nice. There is a little bit of a heel, but it doesn't really cause too many issues for standing from what I can feel. So overall, I'm pretty happy. They painted it fairly cleanly. There is, I almost forgot to mention, that looks terrible. That is, I don't know. It looks crappy, and I don't know. Overall, I'm pretty pleased with this figure. I think Hasbro did a good job. I think it is a little overhyped. This figure has been hyped quite a bit, and I think because it was an SDCC exclusive, whatever. Let's do a comparison. Okay, look at that. She's considerably taller than Deadpool, and, you know, I think, because of who she is, I think that's probably okay. Plus, she's got the heels, so, you know, not too bad. I think they scale fairly well for, like I said, who she is. Let's see exactly how tall she is. It's about 7 inches, almost 7 inches, not including the antlers, which is pretty darn cool. All right, Hasbro gave us an alternate head, which isn't too bad. I think the likeness is pretty close. I mean, you know, it's okay. They painted her lips, which is nice. Her eyes, she looks like she's been, you know, snorting blow for a while, but whatever. They're finally getting that they need to use a softer plastic for the hair. These pieces are relatively pliable, which is very nice. Though because that neck is so long, we probably didn't need it on this one that much. Let's go ahead and pop her head off carefully so we don't break any of these. And let's try and pop this head on. And there we have it. Again, head, neck way too long. But it looks pretty decent on this figure. I think they did a pretty good job. My lighting isn't giving it or doing it a whole lot of justice, but, you know, it's a nice enough head sculpt, and like I said, you can still move that head up because that hair isn't getting in the way, and that neck puts it about a mile in the air. She comes with this sword thing, which I'm not impressed with at all. It's got no paint. The sculpt is nice enough, but they made it out of an extraordinarily pliable plastic. I have no idea what they were thinking with this. I mean, it's not holding its shape very well it's just, I don't know. Had they given it a little bit of paint, a little dry brush, maybe some white or gray or silver or something, just to make it stand out a little bit, that would have gone a long way. But I'm not super happy with it. It just, I don't know, it's kind of cheapo looking. But it still does look decent enough that you can pose her with it, and she can still look pretty darn cool. And then she also comes with this cape, which I'm not super impressed with it. I mean, it's nice enough. The sculpt is pretty nice. It's made of a kind of pliable, you know, rubber. It's not as hard as some of the previous capes have been from Hasbro. And this thing just pegs in on her back. And that's kind of the issue that I have, is the execution of how this thing mounts on is just kind of haphazard, I'd say. If you can see on her shoulders, it doesn't stay down, and it looks as though it's just kind of floating on her, or just above her. It is nice because you can use it to help her stand, and at certain angles, it definitely looks very nice. So, you know, I have my gripes with it, and some of them are probably not really warranted, and some of them I think are. So, what do you guys think? Are you entirely pleased with the Hela that we're getting from Hasbro? Are you disappointed? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your opinions on the matter. Alrighty, folks, I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe if you haven't already done so. Leave me a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And until next time, I'll see you later.